What did the Feed and Fuel mean personally to you?
Escape. Well, it used to be called Andy's at first, way back in the 60s. And then it changed hands. I forget how many years. Well, Andy had it the longest. And then it went to the Wagon Wheel for about 4 to 5 years, if I recollect right. And then it went to the Circus room. And then after that, it became the Feed and Fuel.
The Almaden Feed and Fuel had been a stagecoach stop when it was built in the 1890s, then transformed into a gas station, store, bar, and restaurant throughout the years. In the structure's earlier years, it had once been a gas station called Gilmore's around the time of 1937. The Feed and Fuel officially closed May 20th, 2006 by John Carson, who was the owner of the property. He applied to the city for a development permit to rezone the property for 14 single-family homes. Almaden residents of the Feed and Fuel Committee fought to save the building. To save it, they attempted to make the Feed and Fuel gain landmark status, to officially make it a historical building by the San Jose Historical Preservation Landmark Commission. After all efforts made by the Feed and Fuel Committee, their favorite restaurant was deemed a structure of merit. This allowed the building to be rehabilitated into a single-family home, along with the construction of 12 new family homes.
Well, devastated for one, because it was like an out just to get away from the house and come over here and meet friends. I still have some local friends here, and just camaraderie, just having a good time.
Well, I was bummed. I was totally bummed. It's such a classic place, fun place to come with your buddies on the bikes. There's nothing really like it in the whole Almaden Valley, or for that matter, in the area. So I was very disappointed, very bummed to hear that it was closing.
How many people were there trying to rally to save it?
From my understanding, there was quite a few, and probably not enough.
What was your first visit like?
Well, I wasn't 21 at the time, but I got served back in the 60s.
What was your immediate thought when you walked through these doors?
Wow, they got a pool table.
When I first went to the Feed and Fuel, my immediate thought was like, what a great place this is. I'm looking forward to coming back here many times, enjoy the company, and have a burger and a beer.
It was good atmosphere. Of course, the locals, them days, they just talked about, the farming, the weather, stuff like that. But it was very cordial, very nice, very, very, locals, just plain local guys.
Well, that was the fun part. You had a little bit of everything. You had guys on motorcycles, on bikes, cruising in for a Sunday afternoon beer. Occasionally there'd be a few horses in the parking lot from the local horse club. And then there'd be people who were visiting from out of town who were kind of not used to the mix of people that were here, but everybody would come in, get a burger, have something to drink, and just enjoy the afternoon.
A lot of weekenders, bikers, stuff like that, were here on the weekends, especially like on a Sunday if they had a band playing.
What did you like best about the Feed and Fuel?
Well, the Feed and Fuel is just a fun environment to show up to on the bikes, show up on a Sunday afternoon, and there were just a lot of friendly bikers that would hang out there and enjoying the afternoon sun and a burger, sandwich, just kind of hang around. So a lot of it was camaraderie with other bikers.
I had a lot of memories about this place, and meeting new people. you know, especially not coming around as much as I used to, you know, years past.
Since the Feed and Fuel is closed, where do you and your friends go now?
Well, typically we'll hit a place called Legends Pizza. We'll go over there, have some pizza and a beer. Maybe we'll head up to Malibu for a beer, maybe Touchdown Tommy. So there's a couple other places in town or the area, but they really don't have the atmosphere or environment that the Feed and Fuel did.
What kind of food did they serve?
At that time, you know, when they first opened up, you know, they had breakfast at one time, and then they changed hands when it became the Feed and Fuel, you know. But we had dinners, steak dinners, you know, stuff like that.
What was your usual meal, like your favorite meal?
Steak.
Afternoons were burgers, chicken sandwiches, wings, that kind of thing. And then in the evenings, they had a big kitchen in the back where they'd serve up steaks and ribs and everything. Most of the time I'd ever been here, though, was in like a Sunday afternoon or an afternoon ride, so I'd just grab a burger and a beer.
What was it like growing up near the Feed and Fuel?
It was beautiful. Blossom trees, you know, from the cherry trees, the apricot trees. It was all orchard and just a two-lane road.
I've actually been coming here for a long time. Before I moved into the neighborhood, we used to have weekend rides. There was actually a couple places we used to hit before we ended up at the Feed and Fuel. We'd go to the Quail Inn, the Calero Inn. So we had several stops that we'd make throughout the course of the day. Typically end up at the Feed and Fuel, last stop for the day before we headed home.
How often did you go to the Feed and Fuel?
Probably over the years, a couple of times a month. When I lived in San Jose, I'd come up here probably, you know, 2 or 3 times a week.
It was probably pretty much every weekend. We'd go out for a ride on the bikes. We had a circuit of places that we would stop, typically end up at the Feed and Fuel. It'd be our last stop before we head out home. So it was probably about a weekly trip, a couple times a month.
While we're standing here in front of the Feed and Fuel, and years back, they used to have a gas station here, and they had an overhead roof that came out, and the doorway used to be right in here, and then they had the pool cable to the right as you walked in, and the bar used to be L-shaped from where the door is all the way back, and it was L-shaped. Of course, now it's all changed, it's been redone, you know, renovated and so on and so forth. But they used to have ethyl gas and regular gas right here.